Hello. Today, we're diving into the eerie world of psychic predictions that turned out to be startlingly accurate. The sinking of the Titanic. Ever heard of the Titanic? Of course you have. But did you know its fate was eerily predicted 14 years before it even set sail? Grab your life vests and let's dive into this chilling tale. Picture this. It's 1898. No, you don't have to imagine horse-drawn carriages or handlebar mustaches. Instead, think of a writer named Morgan Robertson. This guy had a knack for weaving tales that sent shivers down your spine. He wrote a novel called Futility, later known as The Wreck of the Titan. Yes, Titan. Sound familiar? Hold on, it gets creepier. Robertson's story featured a gigantic, unsinkable ship called the Titan. Now, this floating behemoth wasn't just big, it was a spitting image of the Titanic. And in the book, guess what happens? The Titan hits an iceberg in the North Atlantic on a cold April night and goes down faster than your favorite snack at a party. To top it off, there weren't enough lifeboats for everyone. Deja vu, anyone? Fast forward to 1912. The real-life Titanic set sail on its maiden voyage. We all know how that ended. It struck an iceberg. Seriously, icebergs, what's your deal? And sank with tragically inadequate lifeboats on board. The similarities between Robertson's fictional Titan and the Titanic are so uncanny that it's enough to make you believe he had a crystal ball hidden in his typewriter. So, was Morgan Robertson just a wildly imaginative writer, or did he tap into some spooky psychic realm? While some might call it a staggering coincidence, others argue it's proof of the human mind's incredible and sometimes unsettling ability to predict the future. Perhaps Robertson's brain was a time machine, bringing back warnings from the future. The assassination of JFK. Meet Jean Dixon, a psychic so famous she could have rivaled any Hollywood star of her time. Dixon made a jaw-dropping prediction in 1956. She foresaw a man with a prominent chin who would be elected president and then tragically assassinated while in office. Fast forward to 1960, and along comes JFK, charming, charismatic, and yes, with a pretty prominent chin. Dixon's prediction didn't stop there. She even nailed the year Kennedy would be elected. But wait, there's more! She pinpointed the tragic event to happen before the end of his first term. On November 22, 1963, her prophecy came true when JFK was assassinated in Dallas, Texas. Cue the dramatic music. Now, was Jean Dixon the real deal or just incredibly lucky? Some say she had a hotline to the future. Others argue she made so many predictions, she was bound to get one right eventually. It's like throwing spaghetti at the wall. Some of it's gonna stick. But there's no denying the eerie accuracy of her JFK vision. It's enough to make you wonder if there's more to the human mind than meets the eye. Let's not forget the Dixon effect, a term coined for the tendency to remember successful predictions and forget the ones that missed the mark. Think about it. How often do we focus on the hits and ignore the misses? Even a broken clock is right twice a day, right? Regardless of where you stand on psychic phenomena, Jean Dixon's JFK prediction is a fascinating case study. It highlights the potential of the human mind to tap into something beyond our current understanding. Is it intuition? A glitch in the matrix? Who knows? The 9/11 attacks. Craig Hamilton Parker, a British psychic known for his uncanny predictions. Back in 1981, long before the age of smartphones and social media, Craig had a vision that would send chills down anyone's spine. He foresaw a catastrophic event involving New York's Twin Towers. His vision detailed airplanes crashing into the towers, causing immense destruction. Sounds like a page from a Hollywood script, right? Fast forward to September 11th, 2001. On a bright, clear morning, two planes were hijacked and crashed into the World Trade Center, leading to one of the most devastating events in American history. The parallels between Craig's prediction and the actual event are enough to make you question reality. Did he have a sneak peek into the future, or was it a bizarre coincidence? Imagine Craig trying to explain his vision in the 80s. Yes, I see these huge metal birds flying into tall buildings. People probably thought he had one too many cups of tea. But lo and behold, his eerie foresight turned out to be tragically accurate. Now let's put on our thinking caps. How could Craig Hamilton Parker see such a specific event 2 decades before it happened? Some skeptics argue it's all about probabilities and lucky guesses. After all, if you predict enough disasters, one is bound to happen, right? But this wasn't just any disaster. It was a detailed, specific vision of an unprecedented act of terror. This leads us to ponder the human mind's potential for precognition. Is there a part of our brain that can tap into future events? Some scientists believe in the possibility of the subconscious picking up subtle cues and patterns, predicting future occurrences. It's like your brain playing detective, connecting dots you didn't even know existed. Whether you believe in psychic abilities or not, Craig Hamilton Parker's prediction of 9/11s is a compelling case. It challenges our understanding of time, consciousness, and the mysteries of the human mind. So, next time you have a strange premonition, maybe take a moment to write it down. You never know what the future holds. The Aberfan disaster. Picture this. It's 1966 in the peaceful village of Aberfan, Wales. Kids are playing, parents are going about their day, and life is as ordinary as it gets. But beneath the surface, something unsettling is brewing in the minds of several schoolchildren. They start having disturbing dreams and visions. One child, eerily specific, tells her mother she dreamt of going to school and being buried by something black. Creepy, right? Then, on October 21st, 1966, disaster struck. A massive coal waste tip, towering over the village, collapsed after heavy rainfall. The landslide engulfed Pantglass Junior School, killing 144 people, including 116 children. The tragedy shocked the world, but the premonitions reported by these children added a chilling layer to an already heartbreaking event. Imagine being a parent and hearing your child describe such a vivid nightmare, only to have it come true. It's like something out of a horror movie, but this was real life. The children's dreams weren't just vague anxieties, they were detailed warnings. How did these kids foresee such a specific disaster? Were they psychic prodigies, or is there something more to the human mind than we understand? Now, let's get a bit nerdy. Scientists have long debated the nature of precognitive dreams, those eerie, accurate glimpses into the future. Some suggest that our brains might pick up on subtle environmental cues and subconscious information, weaving them into our dreams. It's like our minds are supercomputers, processing data we're not even aware of. But here's the twist. These were children. Their dreams didn't come from reading news articles or analyzing weather patterns. It's as if their minds were attuned to something beyond the ordinary, something that allowed them to see a dark, looming threat. The tragedy of Aberfan reminds us of the fragility of life and the strange, often unexplainable power of our minds. The death of Princess Diana. Let's rewind to the glamorous yet tumultuous life of Princess Diana, the people's princess. Beloved by millions, her life seemed straight out of a fairy tale, until it took a tragic turn. But did you know her untimely death was predicted with startling accuracy? Enter John Hogue, a psychic who seemed to have a VIP pass to the future. In the mid-1990s, Hogue made a prediction that would later send shivers down the spines of many. He foresaw Diana's death in a car crash, complete with the year and the involvement of a prominent city. Fast forward to August 31st, 1997. Diana's life was tragically cut short in a car accident in Paris. The world mourned, but Hogue's prophecy left everyone wondering, how could he have known? Imagine Hogue trying to explain his vision at a dinner party. So I see a princess, a car, and a tragic end in the City of Light. Cue the awkward silence and the host hastily changing the topic to the weather. But when the prediction came true, it was like a scene straight out of a suspense thriller. Now let's put on our thinking tiaras. Was this prediction a genuine glimpse into the future, or just a lucky guess? Skeptics argue that predicting a high-profile figure's accident isn't entirely improbable. After all, the lives of the rich and famous are often fraught with risk. But the precise details, Diana, a car crash, Paris, are enough to make even the most hardened skeptic raise an eyebrow. Psychic phenomena, particularly those involving high-profile individuals, often spark debates about the human mind's capabilities. Can we really see the future, or are these predictions just the result of astute observation and intuition? Hogue's prediction, however, remains one of the most compelling cases, blurring the lines between foresight and coincidence. The Great Fire of London. In 1651, Lilly published a book with some rather alarming illustrations. One of them depicted London engulfed in flames. His prediction, a great fire would devastate the city. Imagine the reactions back then. Oh, William, always with the doom and gloom. Fast forward to 1666. Picture this. Wooden houses packed like sardines, a city bustling with life, and a bakery in Pudding Lane. On September 2nd, a small flame in the bakery sparked a blaze that grew into a monstrous inferno. The fire raged for 4 days, destroying much of London. The accuracy of Lilly's prediction was hotter than a jalapeno. Now let's sprinkle in some humor. Imagine William Lilly at a 17th century dinner party saying, "I predict a huge fire will burn down the city." The guests probably laughed nervously, glancing at the wooden beams overhead. "Sure, William, and next you'll tell us we'll be drinking coffee instead of ale." So how did Lilly foresee such a catastrophic event? Some argue it was simply a matter of probability. London, with its tightly packed wooden buildings, was a tinderbox waiting for a spark. But others believe Lilly's astrological calculations were spot on. After all, astrology was the 17th century's version of a weather app, albeit one that came with a side of mysticism. Now let's nerd out a bit. Astrology in Lilly's time was a respected science. People believed the stars and planets influenced earthly events. Lilly, with his celestial charts, might have tapped into patterns and signs that pointed to impending disaster. Whether you buy into astrology or not, there's no denying the eerie accuracy of his prediction. The Great Fire of London was a turning point in history. It led to the rebuilding of the city and significant changes in building regulations. And William Lilly? He went down in history as the man who saw the flames coming. His prediction, whether by chance or celestial insight, reminds us of the fascinating ways humans have tried to make sense of the future. Mark Twain's premonition. Samuel Clemens, better known by his pen name Mark Twain, was a master storyteller, known for classics like The Adventures of Tom Sawyer and Adventures of Huckleberry Finn. But Twain wasn't just a sharp wit with a love for mischief. He also had a knack for peeking into the future, particularly his own. Born in 1835, Twain arrived in the world under the blaze of Halley's Comet. Throughout his life, he often remarked on this celestial coincidence, predicting that he would go out with the comet when it returned. Fast forward to 1910. Halley's Comet reappeared in the night sky, and Twain, true to his word, departed this world the very next day. Talk about timing. Now let's sprinkle some humor into this cosmic coincidence. Imagine Twain at a dinner party nonchalantly saying, "I came in with Halley's Comet, and I expect to go out with it." The guests would probably laugh, clinking their glasses while Twain just smirked, knowing he might actually pull it off. So how did Twain predict his own death? Was he in cahoots with the cosmos, or was it all just a lucky guess? Skeptics might argue that it was a case of poetic fate. After all, Twain was a writer with a flair for drama. But the timing was so precise, it's hard not to wonder if he had a direct line to the stars. Let's dive into the science for a moment. Halley's Comet, visible from Earth every 76 years, has been a celestial harbinger throughout history, often associated with major events. Twain's prediction, however, stands out because it was personal and specific. It wasn't about world events or disasters. It was about his own life and death, making it all the more poignant. Twain's premonition challenges us to think about the nature of fate and the human mind's connection to the cosmos. Did Twain, with his sharp intellect and keen observations, sense a pattern that others missed? Or was it a quirky coincidence that perfectly fit the narrative of his extraordinary life? The coronavirus pandemic. Enter Sylvia Browne, a psychic famous for her bold predictions and appearances on talk shows. In her 2008 book, End of Days, Browne made a chilling prophecy. She wrote about a severe pneumonia-like illness that would spread across the globe around the year 2020, attacking the lungs and bronchial tubes and resisting all known treatments. Sound familiar? Fast forward to 2020. COVID-19, a novel coronavirus, sweeps the globe, causing a pandemic that changed the world overnight. Cities went into lockdown, people wore masks, and the phrase social distancing became part of our daily vocabulary. Browne's predictions seemed to hit the nail on the head, leaving many people wondering if she had a crystal ball hidden in her library. Let's add a dash of humor to this uncanny foresight. Imagine Sylvia at a 2008 cocktail party, casually mentioning her prediction. In about 12 years, we'll all be staying home, wearing masks, and hoarding toilet paper. Cue the laughter and someone saying, "Yeah, right, and pigs will fly." Well, look who's laughing now. Skeptics argue that pandemics are somewhat predictable. History is full of them, and scientists have long warned of the possibility. But the specific details and timing of Browne's prediction are what make it so intriguing. Was it a lucky guess, or did she tap into some hidden reservoir of future knowledge? Let's get a bit scientific. Predicting pandemics isn't entirely out of the realm of possibility. Epidemiologists have long studied patterns of disease outbreaks. However, Browne wasn't a scientist, she was a psychic. Her prediction aligns so closely with actual events that it's hard not to be a little spooked. This tale of foresight also highlights the fascinating intersection of science and intuition. While experts had been sounding alarms for years, it took a psychic's prediction to capture the public's imagination. It's a reminder that sometimes the lines between intuition and logic can blur in surprising ways. The collapse of the Soviet Union. Meet Edgar Cayce, the sleeping prophet. Known for his trance-like readings, Cayce made countless predictions about health, spirituality, and global events. In the 1930s, Casey had a vision that seemed impossible at the time. He predicted a massive transformation in Russia, foreseeing the collapse of the Soviet Union and the end of communism. Talk about a bold claim. Fast forward to 1991. The Soviet Union, a superpower that had dominated global politics for decades, disintegrated almost overnight. Communist regimes fell, the Iron Curtain lifted, and the world watched in awe as Casey's prophecy came true. The once mighty USSR was no more. Casey's vision had come to pass in spectacular fashion. Let's sprinkle in some humor here. Imagine Case at a 1930s gathering saying, "I see Russia embracing democracy and abandoning communism." The response? Laughter, raised eyebrows, and maybe a few pats on the back. "Sure, Edgar, and next you'll tell us the Berlin Wall will come down too." Well, Edgar had the last laugh. Skeptics might argue that predicting political upheaval isn't entirely outlandish. The winds of change were already blowing, with internal strife and economic struggles plaguing the Soviet Union. But the timing and accuracy of Casey's prediction are what make it so remarkable. It wasn't just a vague forecast, it was a detailed vision of a world-altering event. Let's get a bit academic. Political scientists and historians study patterns of governance and societal shifts, but Casey wasn't working with data and analytics. His predictions came from a place of deep intuition, perhaps tapping into collective consciousness or subconscious insights. The human mind, it seems, is a powerful tool for glimpsing the future. The discovery of DNA. Edgar Cayce, the sleeping prophet, making a repeat appearance on our list of remarkable predictions. In the 1920s, long before DNA was even a glimmer in a scientist's eye, Cayce made an astonishing prediction. He described a blueprint of life that would be discovered within the human body, revolutionizing our understanding of health and heredity. Pretty bold, right? Fast forward to 1953. James Watson and Francis Crick unveiled the double helix structure of DNA, marking one of the greatest scientific breakthroughs of the 20th century. This discovery transformed biology, medicine, and even forensic science. Casey's prophecy had come true, and the world of genetics was born. Now let's add a splash of humor to this scientific saga. Imagine Case at a 1920s speakeasy casually saying, "I foresee a discovery that will explain how traits are passed down and change the face of medicine." The response? Chuckles, raised eyebrows, and maybe a few pats on the back. "Sure, Edgar, and next you'll tell us we'll be decoding life's secrets with a machine." Well, guess who had the last laugh? Skeptics might argue that predicting scientific advancements isn't entirely impossible. Science, after all, progresses incrementally. But Casey's prediction wasn't just a vague guess. It was a detailed vision of a revolutionary concept that hadn't even been imagined yet. The accuracy and foresight are what make this prophecy so extraordinary. Let's get a bit scientific. DNA, or deoxyribonucleic acid, is the molecule that carries genetic instructions for the development, functioning, growth, and reproduction of all known living organisms. Watson and Crick's discovery of its structure opened the door to modern genetics, gene therapy, and countless medical advancements. Casey's prediction aligns so closely with these monumental discoveries that it's hard not to be amazed. Well, that's all. See you again. Bye-bye.